Hello, I'm Paul Callan, and on this week's news we have a story from Mercedes, who are accepting liability for accidents with their level 3 autonomous system. We have ELVS, the people responsible for compliance on end of life, are setting up their EV training again. Audi are making filters to filter the water running off the road. Aura, not Rita, but a new car which has been launched on the Irish market from the Chinese manufacturer Great Wall. We've got some F1 tech news about cars breaking down and cars having lots of problems. Some news from BMW on their EV range, and we're going to then speak about some more people coming to the AUTOINFORM.
You could try to play it, but you're never gonna be.
The big issue has always been with autonomous driving. In the event of an accident, who was driving? And it's held up the development of autonomous level 3 and level 4. Well, just this week, Mercedes-Benz is to accept liability for accidents with its level 3 automated lane keeping system. And this really is a game changer, because what they're saying now is that if our company is in control of the car, even though the driver is in the car, well, then we're liable. But it's also saying if the driver has failed to take proper responsibility, for example, refusing to take control of the car when prompted, well, thereby the driver becomes liable. And this is in conjunction with Valio's LiDAR Tech Level 3 system that all this has evolved. It's the first car that this has been fitted on is the new S-Class. So it's a combination of high precision mechanics, optics, electronics and software algorithms and artificial intelligence are all combining on this system. But in spite of all that technology, the question has always been, who is liable? And now Mercedes are clearly saying we're liable if our system was in control of the car when the accident happened. But if our system was telling the driver to take control of the car and he didn't do so, well, then his insurance pays for the accident. So this now potentially will start to develop up, and you're going to see a lot more development in autonomous, to the point where we get to level 4, we get to not needing a driver at all. That's where this could go once these legal situations have been sorted out. It frees up a lot more development and a lot more potential in the sector. We're going from latest technology, newest gear. We always knew that S-Class was always carrying the latest technology, but we're going to another story now, which is completely the other end, which is end of life vehicles. And ELVS, the organisation that's responsible for end of life compliance, is back running its training course on EVs starting in the next couple of weeks around Ireland. They're going to have training course in Dublin, they're going to have one in the Nissan Academy in Naas, they're going to have one in Waterford Wexford Training Centre, and they're also introducing a level 3, and the level 3 is going to have a City and Guilds compliance, so it's going to be a City and Guilds course. So end of life, right now, end of life, i.e. guys that are braking hybrids and electric vehicles in breakers yards and scrap yards, there's 135 of those guys already trained through this system. So I think there's possibly more guys trained in breaking them than there is in fixing them. Another thing that we're seeing much more now is this, how it appears to be the car manufacturers are so environmentally friendly and wanting to do the right thing. Last week we done a story about Hyundai using discarded nets from the sea to make mats, and you're saying, what's all this about? Well, there's ESG. ESG is environmental social governance, and companies now are being rated on ESG. And rated, I mean, is, are they getting investment money? Investment money will go to companies that are very highly rated on ESG, environmental social guidance. So that's why you're seeing more and more companies are now doing good things. Well, one of those good things is actually not directly even related to the car, but Audi have developed a new filter system, urban filters they're calling them, and this is to do with catching microplastics that are going into the stormwater drain system and thereby going into the sewage system and thereby going into the soil and rivers and thereby going into the ocean. So what they've worked out is that in Germany there's roughly around 110,000 tons of microplastics and streetwear that goes into the waste system, but Audi have developed a filtering system for the drains. So it's a system that's actually on the stormwater drains that filters out the plastics from the water as it's going through into the waste system. So really not directly connected, but yeah, the question is coming down the line. You build cars, those cars have tyres, those tyres wear out, you have responsibility, you're responsible. Where has that rubber gone? Where has that plastic gone that was in the tyres? And now you're saying, look, we're building a filter to filter those plastics out and not allow them ultimately into the oceans. This is something you're going to see happening more and more and more over the next couple of years. New manufacturers, totally new brand, totally new to the Irish market. Aura is a Chinese manufacturer owned by Great Wall Motor Company, and they are launching on the Irish market. They are looking for dealers. They're 100% electric vehicles. They're looking for dealers that with a 7 showroom capacity space, because what they're saying is that they're eventually going to roll their model range out to 7. The first model that they're going to launch is the name of the vehicle is called the Funky Cat. I think we'll have some images there for you. It's a really attractive looking little car. They've already launched on the UK market, and I watched some stuff and I listened to some reviews on it, and it's getting very well reviewed and seems to be rated very highly over there. We haven't got any technical information on it just yet, but you're going to start seeing them here in Ireland at the end of the year, and right now they're asking for dealers to come on board to sell them. So I think this is something you're going to see a lot more of, that the Chinese are going to start to become so active in this electric segment. It's going to be a game changer over the next couple of years. First race of the season, we're just going to give us a little time here, just give you some technical stuff on stuff that happened in the first race of the season in F1. Red Bull's 2 cars stopped within a couple of laps of the finish of the race, in third and fourth place, with Ferrari in first and second. Cars performed extremely well, weren't quite the fastest, but weren't far away. But then all of a sudden, both cars stopped out on the track, and you're kind of looking thinking, how can this happen? How can this happen to a team that won the Drivers' World Championship last year? How can, with all the preparation and all the work they've done, how can this happen? The breakdown was, it seems to be that there was some kind of a vacuum created that meant that the fuel pumps couldn't lift fuel. So for that moment, they simply ran out of fuel, even though there was sufficient fuel in the tank. What we're getting is that Red Bull didn't actually test down to a very low fuel tank when they had time to test. So we're thinking this is something that was overlooked by them, but goes to show the level of preparation you need to have in order to make sure you don't have any mistakes. Another massive situation that's occurring is Mercedes-Benz, the most successful manufacturer of the hybrid age in F1, is having massive problems, and their problem is what this situation they call porpoising. What's happening is that as the car speeds up, the downforce sucks it down onto the road, but as it hits a small bump, the downforce is lost, and then the back of the car rises up again, and you get this cycle occurring where it's constantly doing this as it goes down, the building downforce, losing downforce, building downforce. And you're looking at this thinking, how could this happen? How could they have got this far? Now, remembering that a lot of the aerodynamics has changed, so there's massive changes on the aerodynamic side of things. But the interesting thing about this problem is, with all the simulations they can do and all the testing they can do, you cannot simulate this situation in a wind tunnel. You have to go to a track. So what happened with Mercedes was they only get a couple of days testing, and on testing they discovered they had this problem and they hadn't time to fix it, so they had to go into the race with this problem. They say they're losing 0.3, 0.4 of a second a lap, which doesn't seem a whole lot, but over 60 laps it's a fair bit of time. But again, two really top teams. Like there's 700 people working Bracknell for Mercedes, and you're saying to yourself, how could this happen? But there again, you couldn't test for it and you didn't realise you had it there. And what they're saying is, as they bring changes to the car, they don't really know whether they're going to work or not until they go to the next race. In other words, they have to go to the race and say, is it working or is it not working? So they've got to go through this situation where they can't simulate it, so therefore they just go to the race and see if it works. BMW have come out and said that they're going to have 15 battery electric vehicles on the market by the end of 2022. They're going to have 90% of their coverage of vehicles is going to be covered in battery electric, and they're saying that by 2030 they're going 50% of what they produce is going to be a battery electric or electric. But they're also saying that, and we've been watching them developing new ICE engines as well, but what they're saying is that the internal combustion engine is still going to be around, because they're saying there's some markets that doesn't have the infrastructure for electric. And they're saying there's one or two things going to happen. Either we don't sell into those markets, or all we do is we sell them ICE engines, internal combustion engines. So that's an interesting scenario. And then follow that on again, that BMW have been promoting FCEV, fuel cell electric vehicles, and they're saying this is also going to be an offering that they have. They're going to say that it's going to be complementary to battery electric. So from BMW at any particular period, you're going to have battery electric, you're going to have fuel cell electric, and you're going to have traditional internal combustion engines. So quite a mix that's going to be coming out of BMW over the next couple of years. AUTOINFORM is just around the corner, 2nd and 3rd of April in the RDS. So Steve Scott, which I'd say pretty much everybody in the trade is familiar with, Steve Scott from Simply Diagnostics, he's coming to AUTOINFORM. He's got 18,000 YouTube subscribers. He's got 200 videos. I think if anybody ever Googled anything to do with diagnostics, Steve immediately comes up. So he's going to be another interesting person to talk to at that event. So, you know, hurry out and get your ticket for that one now. It's coming up soon. If you could, please like, comment and subscribe. We're starting to get some communication going. We're starting to get comments. It's great, because that's all we want to do. We want to just generate a community within our industry, within the trade, to talk about subjects and communicate and connect. That's what we're setting out to do. Great. See you next week.